Yamcha is the guy that always gets memed because everybody was giving Cybermen the hands. Tien, Krillin gave their Cybermen the hands, but then he's got to be the guy to die from a Cyberman. Not the best look. I mean, Yamcha started off the series as a bandit. He even used a blade, a rocket launcher, and a machine gun. He can harness his inner chi to fly, enhance his physicals with ki, make his own spirit ball that he can control to sling at his enemies for blast power. Or he can do his own unique technique known as the Wolf Fang Fist to attack like a literal wolf. I mean, it's easy to meme him, but you gotta remember, Goku's a Saiyan warrior that has elite genetics that allow him to get Zenkai boosts, aka get strong after near-death experiences. He has his own transformation that can multiply his power, and he's one of those characters that no KO can. Yamcha has none of these things when it comes to genetic advantages, and he still can stand on a planet freely when at first Goku had issues standing on certain planets, so you know he gotta be superhuman. But let's deep dive into him further. Even in the early days, Yamcha was able to lift Goku's shirt, which weighed about 150 pounds. That's something a human can do like myself. Without bringing up filler stuff, even though by the end of the video, you're probably going to believe he could do this. But yeah, I'm not bringing this up as of yet when it comes to how much he can lift, but it's kind of assumed that he's pretty superhuman. We mostly see feats of his superhumanness when he actually strikes. Dragon Ball is a world that's not afraid to be fictional, so you got like creatures that are actual animal men that talk and fight, and there are actual martial artists in this world. And Yamcha, just like how Krillin is shown to one-shot his opponent, Tien, Yamcha's able to one-shot his opponent as well. The weight of his strikes make men fly in the air. Goku's sweetie, when she was younger, he made her go night-night with a hit. I know this may be hard to believe, but there was a time where he actually could slugfest with Tien, hit him hard towards the ground here. Notice how characters like Krillin, who's like a lot of people consider the strongest human, people debate Krillin or Tien the strongest humans. Look how impressed he is at Yamcha. For example, I'm pretty sure if Tien could, he would one-shot Yamcha if he could. That shows Yamcha's not one-shottable. Krillin even said he's as good as him during this time period, of course, when Goku was still a kid. We see the weight of his strikes clashing with Goku himself during these days, taking hits, showing his durability. We see in this occasion him using a saber, Goku's using the power pole. He's still able to block the weight of Goku's hit. And when Yamcha pulls out his Wolf Fang Fist, he hits so hard that where Goku flies through a bunch of pillars, hit hard enough to quake buildings, or destroy the building demolition style with his hits. See, in this world of Dragon Ball, ki is a big deal, and ki is a good way to understand a character's power, just how hard they can hit. Like, there's this thing known as power levels in Dragon Ball. People used to wear scouters to determine people's power levels. There's like literally certain points in Yamcha's career where at certain points in Goku's career here, he surpassed. Like, he surpassed Goku in his early kid days. Beings like Kami, he surpassed King Piccolo, Demon King Piccolo during these days. This kind of information is crucial. When actual gods like Kami themselves praise Yamcha, like, there was certain points in Yamcha's career where Kami was stronger than Yamcha. Yamcha eventually surpassed Kami, though. But even back then, he was impressed by his technique. And the power levels kind of confirmed later on in his career, he did surpass these days of him. Those power levels make sense because when Goku went through this same training, Yamcha is a part of this group. It's literally stated they went through tougher training than yours. Like, this is including Yamcha in this conversation. So narratively, it makes sense for him to be this strong. I mean, if we want to go off these power levels, when it comes to how much Yamcha can technically lift, he doesn't have many showings, but if we take this seriously, being a key control type character, if we assume he can lift more than Goku could during these days, I want you guys to remember that even back in these days with Goku can still lift. Yes, as a teen, Goku still back in these days can lift hundreds or even 200s of tons if you do the calculations on how big Piccolo is here. Goku being able to lift hundreds of tons happened before his training on this planet with King Kai. Yamcha's power level surpassed Goku back in these days. Not currently. If Goku can't even move freely here during this time, and even before this, he can lift hundreds or even 200s of tons, Yamcha can move freely on this planet. If you were to say Yamcha can lift 60-ton tanks, I wouldn't blame you. That's still being disrespectful compared to what Goku lifted. So even if he's like half Goku's strength during this time period, which he's definitely above, but even if we was to lowball him, he would still be able to lift up tanks with his strength and muscle. I would say even with one arm. So it's no wonder he can hit so hard and hit beings through pillars and stuff, right? Just like most characters, he can amp his strikes with ki and stuff, but I would say he can hit similar to his blast, but I would say his blast give him a little advantage, one could say, because even Yamcha himself admits his Kamehameha blast or concentrated ki blast is his ace in the hole. So yeah, we need to kind of get an understanding of his blast power to really get a true understanding of his might. I mean, look at the power levels. He's a highly advanced ki user. Piccolo during this time period, when he blasted away the moon, had only a power level of 400. Yamcha's is way higher than that. Like during the later parts of the arcs, of course. So this right here off default, just pretty much off gate, means that Yamcha, due to his power level being higher, should be able to do this. But look, during this time period, look what happens when this same Piccolo that can blast away moons does to this guy. Look what happens. It was during this occasion, Piccolo, the same one that can blast away moons, couldn't even make Raditz flinch here. Matter of fact, during the time period, him and Goku had to team up on this same guy. proof that moon shattering power isn't enough against beings on this level, and Yamcha had a higher power level than this guy. Saying Yamcha doesn't have the blast power to blow away a moon is just straight up disrespectful at this point. Yeah, he can blow away planetoids with his concussive blast. If you still have your doubts about his power, Yamcha's actually faced off against beings with similar power levels like that, like a Cyberman, for example. Yeah, it's hard to believe these two are similar. With his blast power, we see him do major damage to this Cyberman, proving he can fight beings on that same power level, durability-wise. So that blast power stuff I said is not an exaggeration. And you're probably thinking, oh, he can't punch a moon apart. Well, look at the power levels, right? When he does a Kamehameha, his power level goes up. Like, see, the gap in power level isn't that crazy versus a Kamehameha. They're implying with his fist, his power level is still this strong, but with blast, it's higher. Yeah, he can blast or hit apart planetoids. You see? Dragon Ball characters in general, Yamcha included, can put ki around their fist up, punch hard like this. Just like how their blasts are crazy, they can punch with their blast power. You see what I mean? He could probably blow away like several moons, if we're being honest. Like, just check this out for a second. His power level's this high. Look at Master Roshi's power level. You're probably wondering why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing this up because Master Roshi, somebody that has enough ki and blast power to incinerate the literal moon itself, stated that all his students had surpassed him during this time period. This is even before the Saiyan saga. Like, he stated that all his students had surpassed him, including Yamcha. Because Yamcha's in this picture. You see him right here. Yep. Why do you think we see Yamcha wearing a similar uniform to Goku and Krillin? Master Roshi is including Yamcha in this conversation. If power levels at 180 can blow up the moon, even though it burned him out, what do you think a power level of 1480 Yamcha later on can do? You see what I mean? Sure, this meme did happen of him being killed by a Cyberman. He did get the upper hand over the Cyberman, but yeah, he got caught off guard. But yeah, he was somewhere in each other's ball. The only reason he got killed, he dropped his guard too soon. But he essentially did this to Raditz level beings, though. If I'm keeping it all the way honest, if there was two moons next to each other, he probably could shoot a blast, destroy one, and destroy the other right after that one, like destroying two moons back to back with one blast, I would say, based on all this information, especially with a concentrated Kamehameha. I mean, I got another perspective you can look at. You can look at Yamcha's power level compared to somebody like this, somebody that stated that they could destroy the entire planet, like planet Earth, in a heartbeat. I know this is just a statement, but due to the way Dragon Ball is written, you kind of want to believe them. You see what I mean? Like, a statement like this could imply destroy a planetoid like the literal Earth itself, which is bigger than the moon. Or you could argue the Earth's surface, that you could argue that's what King Piccolo was talking about. Either way, Yamcha's power level is way higher than that guy's anyway. So even if King Piccolo could only destroy the surface, Yamcha's is way higher, so he could possibly destroy the whole Earth. Maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe. Another way you can look at Yamcha's power throughout the years, because this was like pretty much the last time we really knew his power level. Like, you know, they kind of got rid of the power level concept in Dragon Ball, but later on, characters still got stronger. Even if they didn't mention the power levels, we could kind of assume Yamcha did the same too. We don't got no precise power level on him, but that's kind of impressive that they mistook Yamcha for Goku. They definitely wasn't talking about current Goku because, yeah, Yamcha got curb stomped by him. So, yeah, they're probably talking about, like, earlier saga Goku. So, during these later arcs, his power level is definitely higher than this, but we don't know how much higher, though. You remember this famous beam struggle during the Saiyan saga? These androids they mistook Yamcha for? Goku overpowered a Vegeta during this time that was about to blast the Earth apart. So yeah, if we imply Yamcha's in this early saga Goku power level, this kind of information would pretty much confirm earth-shattering might for Yamcha. Strikes or blasts. Yamcha, like all major Dragon Ball characters, has a pretty impressive fighting speed and just straight line speed. He can literally move so fast while fighting to where he looks invisible with super speed. His own concentrated energy blast coming back at him, he's fast enough to dodge it with his reflexes. Energy blasts in Dragon Ball in general, even at lower power levels like Master Roshi power level of 180, can travel from the Earth to the Moon in no time. Stuff like this would imply light speed like beams, and he's fighting and reacting to beings that have similar power levels like Raditz. Beings that get their speed complemented. Yeah, this is the same people that can shoot beams at the Moon and that reach it in no time, like light speed type beams. Yamcha's fighting Cybermen with power level like similar to this. You see what I mean? Yamcha by default has to have light speed combat speed. I mean, yeah, he even crossed Snake way faster than Goku did, you know, him and the others, you see? Now, I usually don't do this unless I have to, but if we want to talk about filler Yamcha, he's definitely a planet buster based on what he did to the Ginyu Force. Look at this being known as Rakum's power level compared to Vegeta during this time period. Don't forget that power level is way lower than this. A weaker Vegeta can blow up planets like Earth, just keep that in mind. The filler Yamcha that got King Kai's training in the filler version of himself was able to slugfest with Rakum. Even give him some business. We see him punch Rakum like this. So yeah, filler Yamcha for sure can easily destroy planets based on the Ginyu Force. Filler Yamcha ain't no joke. Look what he did to Piccolo. If we want to talk about Buu Saga even more, filler version of Yamcha during this saga, years later, in the afterlife he was apparently training, he was boxing it up. DBZ's version of Hercules. Do you understand why Yamcha doing this is crazy, knocking him out like this? if we take this Pikkon stuff serious, look what Pikkon did to Frieza and his dad. We're not even gonna get on their durability and stuff, being able to withstand planet-shattering attacks with laughable ease. Frieza in his base form can destroy planets with laughable ease, but then he has transformations that increases power by over 200 times compared to his previous power level, letting you know how much he can increase his raw power and blast power. In his base state, he's already leagues above beings that can blow away planets, and then you add a multiplier of 200, plus that, yeah, these beings can blow up stars at this point, or smaller stars at least. And look how this being fights Pikkon. It's not easy even with weighted clothes on. Even though he's still won, this being Olibu is pretty strong. And Yamcha can handle this Dragon Ball version of Hercules like nothing. This being that Yamcha KO'd, gotten a decent slugfest with Pikkon. Pikkon definitely did win though, but yeah, remember that Pikkon, even with his weighted training clothes, can do this to Cell after the Cell saga when he was a Super Saiyan 2 level being. Like, this is implying that this guy is in that Super Saiyan 2 ranges of power somewhere. Yamcha beat a being that was slugfesting with a being that can one-shot a Super Saiyan 2 level being. And you guys know of the famous statement that Cell had about being able to blow away the solar system. Notice how easily Pikkon with weights did Cell, right? He couldn't do this being known as Olibu this easily. Like, even he still won, but it wasn't easy. This guy could destroy the solar system, and Yamcha treats this same guy that's not getting one-shotted by Pikkon, treats two of these beings like jokes. Oh my gosh. It's implied to be able to destroy a solar system similar to a Cell level being. Oh my goodness. Like, imagine if we use filler Yamcha in the versus battles. He would be able to blow away the solar system with his blast. I mean, you see him blocking attacks from Cell Juniors here. This was a team effort and they didn't do too much work here, but yo, if we were to count this is actually pretty cool. Based on how Earth-shattering is nothing in this series, these Cell Juniors are way past Earth-shattering, even Jupiter-shattering at this point. Yamcha being able to actually stagger a Cell Junior could possibly imply that Yamcha could be able to blow away a star, and, you know, or something, and just filler him. But yeah, let me get off this filler stuff because this is not even fair. I mean, shoot, even in canon, I think it's impressive he can get hit by a Cell Junior and not die, considering they can do this to Super Saiyan level beings. And this is what Yamcha got hit by. It's really hard to tell how strong current Yamcha is, but this is from the more recent Dragon Ball Super arc. These were like Moro's henchmen. I mean, they're technically fodder type characters, not really nothing to be spending no time on really, but they did force Goku and Vegeta during this arc's time period. While they was drained and weakened, they forced them to block still. Yamcha took on these fodder beings. Evidently been doing some Piccolo and Gohan training. He's a strong fighter that loves women and believes you should wolf fang fist that like button. Thanks for the donations, everybody. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.